There is a view that well, the simple view is that the mountain is a being. Best not to stand on top of a mountain. It's a bit disrespectful. This is a Maori view, as far as I understand it, and I don't understand it very well, of course. I'm no expert. There is a view that our planet is a being. I think it's the Gaia sort of thing. Again, I'm no expert, but that in some sense it has a personhood, a separate soul, if you like. I think that's what the view is. And there's a view that takes us further, that the solar system, the sun and its planets is a family or of souls, or and that the star, the galaxy, also has a soul, a being in itself, you see. Now, these theories may be right, but they seem to be, and increasingly, as I understand it, to be held by people that almost never mention God, and tend not to major in discussing the importance of love and loving kindness. Also give a very towering, commanding view of reality, as if in some sense understanding is what you need, rather than the emphasis, say, on you'll need to be a being of loving kindness. It also tends to be discourses heavily and writings that more tell you of than how to attain, other than by the implied, if you grasp their understanding, then you will have attained. But the people that follow such, as you might expect, don't seem to have necessarily the values of harmony and loving kindness, and don't particularly own to loving a God, but rather as some sort of divine force, perhaps, as being relevant overall and ultimate in some distant sense, not in a loving relationship sense. And you can get swept up with listening to it, and it's fascinating how the whole explanation, theology if you like, but not necessarily with a God in it, so I should say philosophy, how it all ties up and its complexity, and it's a very erudite exposition, which is entrancing until you realize, or until you start to believe, this person doesn't have God, doesn't see God as a person of persons, but somehow a remote entity of awesomeness, yes, but not friendship, not closeness, not loving, endearing, personal. You see, we have been rescued into existence in this world by Mum's loving kindness, the provision of her body supplying our needs, and then being well, her care and attention, and if not hers, the goodness of someone else that's come to the rescue, else we would not have survived. No matter how flawed it may have been, without their care, their giving, somewhere in the system, we would not exist. So we have been bought, given an inherent selfishness. We are bought by the one by that which has cared for us and helped us. And the more we focus on the possibility of whoever it is that has helped us, the more thankful and devoted we feel to them, or even to it if it be a system, of state care that we see as beneficial, of course. I mean, not if it was a nightmare, of course. But do you see something of what I mean? It's not what a person says that should entrance you. Attend to what they didn't say. Oh my goodness, didn't mention God. Didn't mention loving kindness. Didn't mention empathy, sympathy, love and care, the desire to rescue. Didn't mention the great gratitude that, in some ideal sense, we'd like to enter into, although we probably haven't yet, but didn't mention the importance of family, of care, of loyalty and integrity. Actually didn't mention wisdom, but focused very much on understanding. Perhaps didn't know the goal of wisdom, which is for us to be happy. On into the future. That perhaps the most important thing was care, loving care and kindness. Not the greater picture at all. Not us come to the towering view of God, of the universe and all being, but that God comes to our little world of need and longing. Perhaps that was more important. And he's not mentioning that. Poor chap. Perhaps he doesn't know. Or perhaps he does, but he's gone down a by road. How should I feel towards this person? Oh, how can I rescue him? There, but for the grace of God, go I. How can I rescue him? Something of that should be my response, shouldn't it? Not a disdain, not an arrogance, which I am so so trained to fall into that pit, I can tell you. Yeah. Mum, in a concern that I cope with the world, built me with an obnoxious confidence, or at least it seems to be obnoxious to other people. Just produces jealousy. If you do have such a confidence, it might be wise to hide it, at least at times. Bless you. Thank you, Dad. Thank you that you're greater than all of our mistakes, all of our faults, that in your hands, your loving care, we come through by your grace, by your kindness, by your love. Love you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Thank you, Dad.